guy.
Great. See, I was surprised. So I would like lie to you and be like, no, I wasn't surprised. I knew he was gonna be a badass the whole time. No, like at that point, I'm like, he is like goofing around. He's in love with Vanya's ale. They didn't come there for anything but friggin' beer. And then he's like, hold on a second, let me save this whole town. And Gilthronder, man, he makes a friggin' impression on you from the beginning, doesn't he? Like, you're just like, oh, poop. I don't know who this guy is, but he's got pink hair and he's rocking it.
I think that's more menacing that he has pink hair.
I think the cauldrons on him are more menacing than if when he's walking, holy poop, like seriously.
I think then it goes to show kind of what they're up against.
Yeah.
You got it a little bit from that first night in the first episode, but when Guild Thunder just launched that, you see the power level of these knights.
And you can see why Elizabeth's trying so hard to get the Sins back together.
Exactly, because if Guild Thunder, yeah, he's the captain, but if there's hundreds of guys with even a fraction of his power, that's pretty intense for them. But now we get to see that.
I think it's the first second that you get to see because they keep talking about the Holy Knights up until that point, right? So they're talking about Holy Knights, and we've seen his sword in the ground blocking the water, and it's all understandable by that. You know, it's like, okay, what is this? And then Gilthunder's like, I'm going to show you what this is, and he launches a spear from however long, far away, and he just wrecks, like, even
7 miles.
What?
7 miles.
7 miles away. And even with the captain catching it, it still it does a lot of damage to the town. Like, just thinking about what it could have done if he hadn't still been there. So that's like one of my favorite scenes in the whole show. It's literally one of my, yes, back there.
I thought it was more impressive for Guild Thunder because when the lightning bolt comes back, using the counter, it's obviously twice as strong. And all he does is move his head out of the way gently.
Guild Thunder definitely keeps the captain on the ropes the entire series. Do you feel like he is one of the bigger adversaries for Meliodas throughout the series?
Actually, I don't think he even used full counter. Because this is before...
No, he literally just caught it.
He literally just kind of just threw it back with his own strength. That's what happens. But if he used full counter, though, it would have been a lot more damage to give him his counter.
He wouldn't have been able to full counter that because it was a physical attack. So his full counter doesn't work on a physical attack. So he could have full countered the electric off of the spear, but it wouldn't have done anything. It would have been almost like absolute cancel. But since it was a physical attack like that, he couldn't have absolute. But he literally just caught that thing. He just caught it and then threw it.
But imagine if he could have used full counter on that.
Right here.
I think Guild Thunder is definitely the hardest enemy for him to fight, just because, like, I don't want to spoil anything or anything, but you know, just the character and his backstory is with him, and his having met him and loved him.
So you think it's an emotional issue rather than a strength issue? You don't Would you guys agree that maybe if Meliodas was supposed to go full out against Guild Thunder, do you think Guild Thunder would stand a chance at all?
No.
So you think it was all emotional?
At first it was all emotional.
Meliodas will stomp.
Right here.
Well, if we're not trying to spoil it, but we learn at the very end, right in that first meeting between the two in the forest back at the beginning, they were never going full tilt against each other.
Yes.
And so,
And you literally can talk about anything in this series. If it has been on Netflix, you can talk about it.
okay, yeah, it's just like, hey, he said the words, he knows there's a problem. They have never gone full against each other.
Yeah.
Guild Thunder, I don't think, was ever his greatest enemy, just because of that, because he knew there was something going on.
Okay. So that's one of my favorite scenes. So I specifically put that as a bulletin point. Well, as we're talking, I want you guys to think about your favorite scenes, so we can use that as a bulletin. If you already know your favorite scene, then we can talk about that right off the bat. But I was going to say, speaking of favorite scenes, what do you guys have as your favorite scenes? If somebody has. I'm not going to put them on the spot too much, so I'll go to another question if they don't know.
I've got mine.
Okay, go ahead.
I like the backstory between King and Deanne, particularly when he's just lost his memory. And that's my favorite.
Why? Okay, so you guys don't know this, but King holds a special place in Steve's heart. That's his favorite character. So is it because you like King as a character so much, or is it because it explains his sin?
Because it explains why he is the way he is. before that, you don't really get anything. It's just he's a little kid and then he's a big fat dude. And you don't get anything and that he has a sacred treasure because he's the only one stupid enough to keep it. You know, that all the other ones lose theirs, he keeps his. And he starts off as the most powerful person, and then you finally get backstory as to why did he lose his memory? What did he do to get back?
I liked that they brought in the connection that the two characters had, but we also got his sin in such a very, like, they didn't make a big deal about it, they just explained it. Because, like, to be honest, when I first watched it, I didn't even understand that that was them explaining his sin, because, like, they specifically put the male hunter in there so that you see him aging. Like, oh, the first time you see him, and then the second time you see him, it's been 70 years, and then the next time you see him was like his two sons or something down the road or something. And you're like, oh, this is a lot of time passing. And so the first time I watched it, I didn't understand that, and then you explained it to me, and the second time I watched it, I was like, oh, that makes so much sense, and it's such a unique way to explain his sin instead of having to have like this bloody gory mess or anything like that. Do you guys have a favorite scene that you know right off your head?
This is not like a major battle or anything, but I really do love that scene where, because I like Bond. He's like the asshole character that I always like the asshole character, and that's Bond here. And when King first sees him again, and the like sticks the spear right through him, just sitting on the edge of it, and says, "Hey, Bond."
He's like, hello, Bond. Oh, I love
I
that.
think a lot of that.
Well, you stole my favorite scene, but I have an equally awesome scene. By far, one of the best scenes is the reuniting of Meliodas and Bond for the first time in like 10 years, and they're just like, Bond, Captain, and it's like, it's blasting through them all, and it's just like, all right. I won 361 of these, you won 360, let's do this. And then they take down this impenetrable like force field with an arm wrestling match.
And people outside are like, they must be masters at
Something that all of the other Holy Knights like, you can't break out of this, it's impossible. And they break it with two arms.
Yeah.
Were you thinking I stole it because that's my next question?
No, because I'm pretty sure I told you, I was like, this is my favorite moment.
Oh, okay. But my next question was, which interaction do you like more with the characters? Or which first interaction, the Bond and Meliodas, or the King and Bond? Because those both are like so crazy and cool, and you're just like, yeah. Yes.
And Elizabeth, when she's like, you steal my man.
I like King and Bond when they have the flashback that ties them two together. Because I definitely like how they all have them tied together even before they were knights. Or
Yeah, yeah.
they all become the knights. Him and his sister, and he's like, I'm just doing it for fun.
Okay, so just moving right along. So a couple of us are cosplayers, obviously. We're dressed as characters. What's up, John?
Can I take a couple steps back where you're saying, does the Deanne and King interaction from the flashback explain his sin? Does it also explain hers?
No.
I don't think so.
Hers
To
gets
me,
explained later on, but no spoilers.
I mean, okay, so I'm not reading the manga. I'm not going to say anything about the manga. I will tell you that currently my impression of her sin is that she's envious because she's the last of her kind. She's envious that she wants to be something that she's not.
I got the impression she's envious when they're in the town, and then the other girl, the princess girl.
Oh,
she's in
Elizabeth
that-
and her?
Yeah, and she's like, no, you stay with Meliodas because I can't fit in the room.
Yeah.
And like,
She's
that's
like,
all
you're
it
so
is. She
tiny
just couldn't fit in the
and
room.
So I don't think the interaction between Deanne and King flashback brings Deanne's sin into it, but I think it is a full story.
The closest scene would be when Deanne flashes back to when she first meets Meliodas.
Yeah, I
As she's
agree.
being picked on by the Golden Wheat Knights.
Yeah.
And it compares their sizes, and she says, I finally found somebody that's as big as I am.
See, I was thinking when Harlequin's explaining to her, oh, this is what a couple is. Oh, and then the whole rest of the show, she's like really into Meliodas, who is like, oh yeah, I forgot you were there. Whoa.
I don't feel like that has anything to do with her person because she loses her memories pretty much right after. I feel like I agree with you. I feel like the closest thing to seeing her sin is either when they're in the town going to Boss Day prison, because I feel like that envy feeling, you feel that creeping up on her. She's jealous of Elizabeth. I agree. I think the closest thing that we've seen to her sin thus far is when they have the flashback of her being picked on. Okay, so we're gonna move right along, Aaron. Okay, so a few of us are cosplayers, obviously. She's dressed up as Elizabeth and I'm Deanne. What do you think about the costumes of the show? Because I feel like the Holy Knights costumes are the craziest thing I've ever seen. Like, we were just talking about this morning, and Vivian, who comes in later on, she's the mage that's underneath Merlin, and she's got the twisted hand, like, freaking helmet. Like, that is nuts. The team of Holy Knights, when they get to Boss Day Prison, which one looks like a giant beetle, that's nuts. The back scratcher that Vivian's holding is nuts. Like, I mean, they're crazy. What did you guys, did the costumes make an impression on you? Because they didn't.
Arthur's armor
Oh,
is
yeah, that's a
really
good one.
amazing.
Yeah.
Because as soon as you see him, you know who he is.
And they put him with purple eyes, which I loved. I thought that was a great touch. I love Arthur, by the way. We haven't seen very much of him, but as soon as he showed up, I was like, that might be my favorite character. What's up?
When Arthur popped up, I immediately thought, holy crap, Knights of the Round Table, the Deadly Sins, Holy Oak Knights, Knights Templar. And that was so cool to have like such a famous historical character pop out of nowhere.
I wonder if he's going to have a tie of Meliodas that we don't know, somehow. If you know, don't comment. I'll punch you. Go ahead, Ben. I saw you leaning towards the mic.
Actually, I was going to pass it to Stephen because apparently, like, he's not the only historical. Well, they're all historical characters. Like, they're not exactly taken as they were from the literature, but they're.
Yeah, like Gother, that character is actually Merlin's son. I mean, it's a demon. I mean, obviously he's not a demon in the anime, but in the history, Gother was a demon.
They're all references.
Yeah, they're all referenced, every single one of them. I'm trying to think of another one that's real easy. I mean, Merlin's obviously the easiest one.
About Bond. He told me
Yeah,
Bond.
Bond comes from Celtic legend. That he ties into King Arthur and the Knights of the Round Table. Every single one of them does. It's a really cool kind of mixing.
Everything has an origin.
My mind just got blown, guys, at my own panel. Like, if you could see my mind right now, it's literally like, doop, 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 like,
The name that Deanne uses when she's in the fighting festival, Matrona,
yeah.
that's an actual giant in legend.
See,
Interesting.
I think that's where her sin lies, Matrona. Because all you ever hear is like, where'd you come up with a name like that? Oh, it's someone I used to know. Cutscene. Let's do something fun now.
Yeah, there is an article out there somewhere, I don't have it saved, but if you search Seven Deadly Sins and King Arthur Legends, you'll find it. It's a really cool article.
Kayce, if you want to know more, I'll talk to you later.
Don't want to know no more.
Okay.
I don't want to know more. I don't want to ruin animes for myself. Like, to be honest, I'm the type of person who animes take so much. I mean, okay, so they take a lot of time. So I'm watching Naruto, I'm watching Bleach, and I get through. So I'm just now watching through Bleach, and I'm 12 seasons in, and there's 29 seasons now. So when I get through, I'm at 12, and if you tell me something that's happening way down here, why would I watch the next? Like freaking 16 like seasons of this. Why? Why?
To find out how you
Because you're a
get there.
big character
Shush,
development
shush.
stickler.
Don't.
Like, you want to watch them get
He
strong.
wants to tell me everything that I get so sad. Oh, okay. So back to costumes. I'm just gonna cut you off right now.
Ruined
Do
it.
you have a favorite Holy Knight? I wanted to bring. I was talking about costumes. Do you have a favorite Holy Knight? Does anybody have a favorite Holy Knight? Was there a Holy Knight that you met and you were like, this is one of my favorite characters?
Hauser's oven has killed me.
Hauser. Everybody knows Hauser.
Oh yeah, his oven. I'm like, why? He's just like, why? Should we do that? I'm like, I get new gloves.
I'm blanking on his name, but what's the Holy Knight that's Princess Veronica's protector?
Oh, Gilmore or Grumore?
Grumore.
Grumore. Because he's like,
I was
this is my wall. I'm pushing you out now.
Yeah, I like him too.
I mean, obviously, Hauser's the first one that's not a dick. Like, you're like, oh, okay, there's the Holy Knights out there that aren't jerks. Gila, and you're like, oh, she's really an amazing character, and I love her costume, I love her ability, I love everything about her. You know who I do not like? Jericho. I hate Jericho so
There's no
much.
woe there. There's no
And
woe.
I love every time that Vaughn picks on her because I hate her so much. I hate everything about her.
I hate Vivian,
Yeah, you hate her.
and I think her outfit's horrible.
Oh, I think it's so cool.
Get your hands off your head.
I like it.
And then she has like this bob thing going on underneath, and I'm like, why?
Yeah, when she takes off her helmet,
You're like,
the character would have never mixed with who was under the helmet. You're like, oh,
That's
you're
probably the point.
kind of cute. Okay, cool.